Hey, today we're going to be exploring block breathing. So this is a simple breathing technique where we use the help of a block to support the breathing in the back of our body. Now, if you don't have a block, but you want to try this technique out, you could find potentially some sort of rolled up yoga mat that you kind of put against the back. You could try some sort of firmly folded towel or blanket, or simply sitting against the wall. But the nice thing, if you do have a block available, is you can kind of be breathing into the four corners of the block. Now, just before we get set up, since the angle of my wall means you can't really see from a side angle on, what we're going to be doing when we're sitting and placing the block is we want to have the block into the back, and it's wanting to be just below the back of the shoulders, and then we're going to be sort of leaning that into the wall. Now, if your pelvis is quite tilted forward or back, you might try to adjust that so that you can really allow yourself to sit comfortably somewhere in the middle with the block resting against the wall. So we'll try it out. I'm just, for comfort, going to be sitting up on another block. So if you want to find something else to sit on, feel free. And it might take one or two goes to really get comfortable with the placement of this block. So you can just find your comfortable seat. Bring the block behind you. I can already tell I'm a little bit too far back. So let's go a little bit closer to the wall. And then you're bringing the block behind you. And you can be just gently resting that against the back of the body. And you're probably feeling that just below the back of the shoulder blades, going all the way down, kind of the back of your rib cage. And if you do notice indeed that your pelvis is tilting a little in or out, you can just relax that a little. Now, once you've found this position, and if it's the first time, it might feel a little strange to begin with, you can rest the hands on the thighs and start to softly close your eyes. Notice if there is any tension in your legs, actively kind of pressing to try to press the block into the wall. If that's happening, see as best as you can if you can release the tension from the legs. Seeing as best as you can if you can keep your posture upright. So this block breathing exercise is not only useful for kind of exploring and working with our breath, but it's also a great postural technique here. So we're kind of allowing the body to be super upright here. And once you are sort of sitting up straight and you're as best as you can releasing tension from the legs, seeing if you can inhale slowly through the nose. And as you're inhaling, you might feel the back expand a little. And then exhaling out through the nose. Now we're going to take around 15 breaths where we're going to be staying here, and I'm going to kind of guide you through counting the breath. And then we're going to take an additional 15 breaths without counting and a bit more focused on the sensations of the block in the back of the body. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, choosing a count that feels like it fits your capacity of breath, so you don't have to necessarily time with me if something different feels required for your breath. But we are counting to try to balance that inhale, balance that exhale. Seeing if we can also use the count maybe to help stretch our breath a little, so we're lengthening and deepening the breath. You can just be counting the next few rounds in your head. And every now and then you might just see, can you keep releasing that tension from the legs? You keep maybe just feeling and exploring as the breath from the back of the body expands out to your block. And we're going to do 10 more rounds counting the breath. If you do start to notice a natural pause occurring at the top of the inhale and the bottom of the exhale, you can kind of just allow that pause to be there. This breathing technique is also a focus for our concentration. So if your mind wanders away, you lose the count. You can just come back, focusing back in on counting the breath and breathing into the block. We'll do 5 more rounds, counting the inhale and the exhale. And then we're going to shift now to another 15 rounds of breath without counting. So you're keeping still roughly the same rhythm as you did before of the breath, but we're focusing the awareness on those sensations in the back of the body, breathing into the block. So you might notice as you're breathing in and out, do you feel all 4 corners of the block equally? Maybe is there one part where you're not really feeling that sensation of expansion and contraction with the breath? Every now and again, you might again just adjust your posture. So this is a postural technique. We are learning to sit in stillness, find that kind of stable position here. You notice that your posture is kind of dropping and you're relaxing a little bit too much. See if you can allow the spine still to be long. You might lengthen the arms a little without letting the shoulders drop up too much. And then continuing 10 more rounds, focusing in the breath into the block. Coming to your last 5 rounds here. Again, keeping the face soft, keeping legs heavy. You can just do one more round. And then we're going to very softly, with the help of the hands, just take that block away. And just take a few rounds without the block being there. It can feel quite sort of freeing actually after taking that block away. Just observing your breath, observing your posture. Relax the arms a little if you like here now. Gently letting the breath relax, come back to a natural breath. And then at the end of your next breath, you can gently open your eyes once more again. So thanks for practicing along through this block breathing tutorial. If you do have questions about this, I'd be curious to hear them. As I said, it's both a breathing technique that's focusing on expanding and observing our breath capacity here and the movement, particularly in the back of the body. But there's also a lot here going on with posture. So if your legs kind of fell asleep after sitting in this way, you might want to check out perhaps my other video on how to sit for meditation for some tips on sitting more comfortably, so that during the practice you can really be focused in on the technique rather than feelings of, oh, my legs are falling asleep and I feel uncomfortable. If you want to kind of see how to integrate these type of practices into a kind of more daily or weekly yoga routine, then check the link in the description for my Yoga at Home guide. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time. Bye.